Treyarch just shook up the long-range meta with one attachment. Yes, one. But here's the twist. It may break the game. Today we're diving deep into how this transforms the XM4 and the XMG, and seeing how we can take full advantage of this shift in the meta. Let's jump into it. Let's not waste time. The buffer weight stock is the star here, and here's the great thing. We all have it unlocked through the Hitless community event. This attachment dramatically tightens recoil patterns, and it's immediately noticeable. Here's the catch. It only works on the XM4, XMG, and the DM10. Without any other attachments, this stock transforms the recoil pattern on the XM4 to a nearly vertical pattern. Why does this matter? Well, vertical recoil is the easiest to control because all you have to do is pull down on your right stick just ever so slightly, and you'll be able to control it, which is super important in long-range engagements. The buffer weight stock simplifies what has always been one of the biggest issues in building long-range weapons, okay? It's that horizontal recoil. It's always much more difficult to control. When you combine it with other attachments like the compensator and reinforced barrel, the XM4 becomes an absolute laser. But before we get into full builds, let's talk about how recoil worked before this attachment was available to us. To understand why this stock is so impactful, let's take a look at the recoil on the base XM4, no attachments. You can see it pulls up and then veers off to the right suddenly. The compensator helps vertical recoil, but doesn't touch any of the horizontal. The muzzle brake reduces first shot recoil and resets the gun kick after you stop firing. So if you want to tap fire, have some fun. The ported compensator doesn't do really much of anything useful. I mean, it reduces your first shot recoil and less effectively reduces vertical recoil. Adding the buffer weight stock changes the game. It simplifies recoil so much that you can focus your other attachments on things like damage range, bullet velocity, and mag size. By itself, it creates a near vertical recoil pattern. When paired with the compensator and vertical foregrip, you get near pinpoint precision. It even allows for more creative builds. It lets you get the most out of every loadout and every build you've got. Let's take a look at how I'd build this thing out if I was running Gunfighter. Run the compensator to help a bit with that vertical. Reinforced barrel is going to help give you some extra damage range and bullet velocity. Run the vertical foregrip, help reduce that vertical recoil a bit more. Run extended mag too, so you pick up those extra 30 rounds and you got 60 and you can engage multiple opponents. Commando foregrip is going to help you out with some ADS and sprint to fire speed. Throw on this buffer weight stock, the star of the show. Run over pressured. That way you're going to pick up even more bullet velocity, make this thing a complete laser. And then run whatever optic you like. I prefer the Willis 3X. This build is optimized for damage range, bullet velocity, and precision in long range engagements. If you want to run overkill, here's how I'd go. Compensator, reinforced barrel, extended mag 2, keep the star of the show, the buffer weight stock on there, and again, whichever optic works best for you. This allows you to run overkill and pick up your favorite SMG to run with it. Now let's talk about the XMG. On paper, it's a top tier choice for big map players, but it has a much more aggressive recoil pattern up and to the left hard. But the buffer weight stock helps reduce all of that and make it a much more viable option and allows you again more flexibility in your builds. Start with the base recoil. It's wild, up and then left. Add the buffer weight stock and you'll notice an immediate improvement, tightening it up and making it much easier to control. On this gun, when you pair it with the compensator, it helps with the vertical, and the vertical foregrip helps with the horizontal. When we look at the Gunfighter build for the XMG, we're going to notice a lot of parallels with the XM4. We're going to run the compensator, reinforced barrel, vertical foregrip, commando foregrip, keep the star ripping, run that buffer weight stock. But because this one's an LMG with a 100 round base mag, we can throw on the target laser, which is going to help reduce aim idle sway and even give us a bit more steadiness while we're aiming and walking. We're going to keep the overpressured ammo, and again, optic of your choice. This makes the XMG a surprisingly viable long-range option, with great bullet velocity and a lot of precision. But remember, it is for big map because that'll slow you move with that LMG, not a resurgence choice. For the overkill build, we're going to run the compensator, reinforced barrel, vertical foregrip, buffer weight stock, and your optic you want to run. If you're trying to figure out your perfect loadout, the best way is the firing range. It's your friend. Use the recoil wall to your advantage. Start with no attachments, fire some rounds into it, see what happens. Put the attachment on, see what happens again. Go from there. Focus on what's easiest to control for you. Everyone's different. For example, if you're like most people and you find it much easier to control vertical recoil, run attachments that help with horizontal. Conversely, if you happen to find it easier to control the horizontal and fight with the vertical, run attachments that help support the vertical recoil. The buffer weight stock sets a new standard for what attachments can do. If Treyarch applies similar changes to other weapons, we could see a much more dynamic meta. For example, can you imagine this level of recoil control in a high recoil, high damage weapon like the AK? While it hits much harder and has a much faster theoretical TTK, its recoil makes it difficult to control for your average player. The buffer weight stock isn't just another attachment, it's a game changer. It simplifies recoil so much, it makes the XM4 and XMG the obvious metas for the long range. My hope is that Treyarch and Activision roll out more attachments like this for other weapons, or they make this available on other ones as well. Either option would do just fine. Otherwise, I think we're just going to run into another stale DTIR meta, where everybody's running the XM4 and you're getting beamed out of the sky. What are your thoughts? Have you been able to try it yet? Let me know down in the comments. Keep the energy high, the vibes positive. Until next time, spread the love, fam. We'll catch you in the next one.